Right guys, welcome to episode 18. Here we have more panel ripping. We've got a little bit ahead of ourselves this time and just ripped a few more out. And soon you're going to be seeing the roof get cut out and exposing all the framework.
So yeah, this is the start of really the Goliath. We've got, I think, about 6 meters of framework roughly to do. So yeah, obviously you're going to see those two panels get ripped out, see all the roof, see really how bad it is. And I'd also like to, at this very opportune moment, thank you a certain Chris B. You have bought us 2 out of 5 litres of this Furtan, which will do about half of 370. So thank you very much for your donation. It's massively appreciated, and yeah, you'll see your donation getting used a lot. Really helpful, because it means that now we can use that to buy metal. You know, that's very helpful for us. So thank you very much to him. And now let's get on with this Goliath. It's going to be some fun, this. So as you've seen, we've cut out all of the roof now remaining on this side of the DMU. There is a lot of it. Found a few good surprises, which is that some of these car line, they're not too bad further down that end. But as for the section we're in now, because that's all pretty standard stuff, we've done that before, you'll notice it's quite a big gap that we've taken out here. Now, that is due to undulations in the roof where they had repaired it not really as good as we'd like. So they caused undulations, and with the way we've done it, we're pretty consistent that there is no obvious massive undulation, whereas here there was. So what we've done is their original repair was up to here. We've taken about an extra probably 70-80 mil, but from the bottom it's 360 mil high. But you can see that they obviously haven't touched the framework at all. This cant rail isn't actually connected to that car line. Same goes for that one there, and the same goes for this one here. So pretty much this was all being held in by magic, not weld. And so yeah, so this is kind of the state that we get it in, but big old hole. This is now nice and flat, which means that we can pull that flat. And what we're going to try and do is, this radius seems to be pretty consistent throughout. We're going to try and just use the same steel that we've had pre-bent for the other roof repairs that we do at 270. And if it is too sharp of a bend, what we'll do is we will gently encourage it on a flat surface and make that radius larger, so that then we can get it to fit. But that's the plan for this. Thankfully it isn't too big, but this is interesting as far as, you know, doing this goes, because we've never done this before. So yeah, it's a bit weird seeing a massive hole in it, but as you can see, cant rail is pretty screwed. That shouldn't happen. The fact that that can move is extremely dangerous and bad as far as a running unit would go. So yeah, glad we caught this one in time, and God forbid some of those other repairs that maybe were done at the same time to the same skill level, where this kind of stuff is just laying there waiting to be found. So yeah, what you're going to see now is, now that we've ripped all this out, you're going to see us rip out another 2 panels. So yeah, but thankfully none of them have been repaired by other people. They are all BR panels, so they should come off in a couple of hours, not a whole day. So let's get to the exciting part, which is ripping her apart.
Right guys, so now what you're going to see me do is rip out a panel. So obviously, as you've seen Johnny do it before, just go around, cut all the white lines where the welds are, and then yeah, have some fun trying to pry it off with a little bit of brute force. Right guys, so now what I'm going to be doing is welding up this stitch, as you can see behind me. Cleaned up the old metal, so I've got a nice surface to weld to. Then we'll get a patch in here, and then me and Johnny will liaise and cut this window out. Then we should have more of a DMU looking sized panel here.
Right, so here we are on this really the bad panel. I'm probably going to refer to it as now. I've just burnt out this second hinge, and we're experimenting with how stable a door is on one hinge. So fun times. So I've burnt these off. Bit annoying is that they've actually welded to the hinge on their replacement because they obviously didn't take the hinge off. Looks like they haven't even bothered welding it here on the bottom. They've just decided, yeah, you know what, we'll just leave in a little bit of a gap and we'll just put some filler in there instead, because that's strong, isn't it? So my task now is to get pretty much from this white line up. It is a curved section. Thankfully enough, we've got a little bit of curved section. We bought it on the off chance that we might need it. So it's only like one section from here to here, but for this, it's going to do it. And there's also another bit down there where the bottom of this needs to come out on that side, along with some right angle. So that's going to be a new challenge because I haven't actually done one of them yet. So yeah, curved section is probably going to go into about just to the bottom of this hinge, then straight section up. I haven't really got any references for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some measurements from some other doors that I know work. And then I'm going to make sure that I keep the alignment straight. It's just going to be a little bit of a long one again with this, but these uprights, they just seem to take time, but if you do them right, and you know, you don't weld to hinges and you do it properly, then you do get a pretty good result. So we would put a straight bit in here if we only had straight, but it is a curve, and the bodywork, we push it right to the framework to get that nice line, that nice kind of body line, that nice smooth curve that you see with no undulations. Because, you know, it's 60 years old. When we put new metal in, we bend it to that radius and it does come out looking really nice, which is another advantage to put a whole panel in rather than patch it, because you get undulations and then a lot of filler, and then you get to this one day pretty much. So we'll bang this framework in, bang these two hinges in, then I'm going to have to take this hinge on the bottom out because I can't live with there being filler here. I just can't. It's not acceptable. We wouldn't do that, and we're not going to leave it in. So yeah, this one's it's gonna slow us down a bit. It's not going to be very slow for you, but this probably will take a good day and a half to get this whole thing done with patches behind it, ready for a new panel to be installed just for this half. And then once we're on this half, we'll then have an upright going to the bottom bit of cant rail that we put in, at which point I can put the top bit of cant rail in, after which I can then put the car line in, and then we can move forwards another 3 feet, and then pretty much fix all of this Z section, but that's later on, and then do the other pillar, which is pretty much the same. It's almost going to be a whole pillar taken out. So yeah, fun times, but that's what you're going to see me do now. Cut this out, you know, do some jiggery pokery with it, and yeah, that's what you're going to see now. As you would have just seen there, we took that door off. Wasn't really that much of a hassle. Didn't actually have to use the ratcheting mechanism of the ratchet strap. Just loosened it off and then used the friction of the ratchet strap actually going through the loop, just to slowly lower it down. All controlled, you know. And actually, I mean, they are aluminium doors, so I don't know what I was expecting with the weight-wise, but actually you can lift them up kind of relatively easily. There is, I mean, I don't know how much they weigh, but they're not too bad to actually move around. A bit awkward, but one man can do it. So, but we are now up here at the little bit cantrail we started. So obviously we've got the upright in there now. I can now start to build this. So I've trimmed this panel. There's only about that much that gets left extra, so it's pretty perfect. Still haven't welded it in here because the cantrail does need to be painted. So there's just enough room there just so that we can get this front side of the cantrail painted, and then that'll get welded up on the back side. But what I'm going to do now, bang the top half of the cantrail in. I'm going to move along a bit, so you know it'll be moved along by a couple of feet, and then put the top half in, weld that all in, and I'm going to do the same as what I did on the front, or close to the front, and that is leave the last probably 2 feet with no welds, just so that those two sections of cantrail are just a little bit more pliable with each other, because obviously we've got to join it onto a little section, because we've made the decision, we found about a metre of cantrail that's actually not too bad. You know, raked out the rust, still a decent amount of meat there, and you know we've left sections that are of that that bad. So we're just gonna bang it down, probably put a couple of welds in where bolts are broken, because you might be able to see here actually how they hold the cantrail together is they actually just put bolts through and then coach bolts and then tighten them up, whereas obviously we're stitch welding them. So that's what you're going to see next, and then I'm going to do the 2 car lines here, and then move on to that little section at the end, but when we get there to ripping that out, I'll take you through what we're doing, why we're doing it, and kind of the level we're going to. But it is very helpful that there is a meter that you know is savable, because it's 2 car lines as well, so it's 2 of these, and when you've got the possibility of facing 7 to 9 of them, knocking 2 of them out because they're still in very good shape. There's a hole in one, but that's just where you can see here they plug weld the roof on. We don't do that because obviously we're welding the entire thing here, it can't move up. But they plug weld the roof, and sometimes when you rip the roof off, the plug weld just comes with it. So that isn't due to rot, that's just because the plug weld is just sheared round the where the plug weld was. So we just fill that back in again. They're both good. So you know when a car line like this, you know that takes a good 20 minutes I reckon to go from in a long bit of car line to being shaped and on there, and then another hour or so of welding, depending on how many I've got to do and how tired I am. Then that saves some time. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get on with it really, and you might be able to see in shot up on the roof, you might not be able to, but Michael has started taking the roof domes off and has started patching them up, because the roof domes have got the base ventilation, so we've decided to pretty much make them watertight by just putting a patch in and sealing them up, which you'll probably see later on in the video when we've done like 8 out of 10 of them. We'll show you how we do, how we do them, because that was featured in an episode, must have been 5 or 6 episodes ago. So anyway, going to get on with this. I'm going to stop chatting and I'm going to start working. So as you would have seen, we've put this bit of counter-rail in, put the car lines in, they went in quite nicely. And I've left just this bit here, just not welded, just so I can keep it a bit more pliable, because it's easier to ply each half of the counter-rail rather than them together. Because I'm going to have to cut these temporary tack welds to put the new section in. And the new section is about probably metre, 1.2 metres-ish. I will measure it out, cut it, and then bang the lower half in, and to try and keep the join as straight as possible, because I know as soon as I cut these tack welds, there's going to be some movement that happens. And obviously we want as true a join as possible, so we want this, we want them to be as flat as possible when you're looking down it. So what I will do is I'll get another bit of angle iron that's surplus to requirement at the moment, that's obviously straight, and I will clamp it in, hopefully on both legs of this, to then clamp it straight, and also have the other section clamped on the other end of that angle iron to hold it all in alignment. Then I'll tack weld it, and tack weld both sides to then stop it from moving. And then after then I can then start to fully weld that bottom bit in, fully weld the bottom bit on the end as well, and then I can start to work on this pillar, which is another nightmare. Really not a fan of this panel. It's really just been slow and strenuous, but we're going to do it once, we're going to cry once over it, and it's going to last a lifetime. And if it doesn't, then we've done something wrong. But anyway, you will see that if we get done something wrong. So then, and if you want to restore one of these things like us, like pure idiots, then you'll know what not to do, which is just as useful as knowing what to do in most cases. So I'm going to replace this upright, pretty much the same as the other one. It's just slow, and then I've got a bit of centre section that I've got to replace as well, because I've got an angle iron that goes about at this height, which you can see the water is obviously sat on that angle iron, because that does come in pretty much here, and you can see what that does when it just sits there. It just rots. But yeah, pretty much whole pillar needs to be replaced. Bottom needs to be replaced as well. I'm halfway through that. Already cut out the section to go in. Fairly easy fix. Just take out the old bit, bang the new bit in. But not that interesting in the grand scheme of things. I've got all the door braced up as well. First door hinges out, so that then I can take this upright out. Not that it's actually connected to anything, hopefully. But yeah, so I'll cut this. This should then just fall out, because that isn't connected. And neither is that to that. So yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to rip this one out. There is an upside to it being really bad, and that is you actually don't have to cut much. So yeah, we're going to get on with that. It's going to be fun. And then I also think we're deciding as well, we're going to lower this door off as well. We'll see how that one that has come off goes back on, and that might influence our decision on how we want to tackle this door. Because obviously we've lowered a door off for the first time, got the holes drilled in it and everything, but it's a new challenge. So what we do is we'll strip that outside, while it's off. Might as well go and be stripped outside. Be a lot easier to get to all the finicky bits, because obviously not only do we do the fronts, we also have to do the sides, the backs, anything that's needing to be stripped to then be painted, so pretty much all of it. So yeah, and then if we lower it, it was a success. Even if you haven't seen it being fitted on, we know it was it was a success. So yeah, let's get on with it, and yeah, the penultimate repair pretty much for me. So I'm very happy, because that means that then I'm pretty much halfway there. If we're looking at like the 2 car, I'm halfway there. If we look at the 3 car, I'm just at the start of a very long road of a lot of framework, but I'm really happy that one of them is nearly done. So yeah, well, hopefully we'll carry that mood and we'll just get this done quickly, get out of the way, and happy days.
Right guys, so a marathon session on doing framework and things. So all of this framework in this section is now complete. The pull cord chain is complete and back in, and you've also seen us lower down a door ready to start fitting the new sheet steel. Then once that's done, then I can get on with the roof. Right guys, so that wraps up this episode. As you would have seen, we have had a mammoth task with these panels. We've finally got them on now. Everything's all sewn up. In the next episode, you're going to be seeing the roof go back in, the windows cut out, and the doors rehung. And just catching up with a few other little sundry jobs, but the mammoth task of this Devil Panel Mark II is over.
Yeah, so a bit of double trouble there, 2 doors, 2 panels, and we're the majority of the way there now. And then our plan is that obviously we would like to get a holding coat on this side, like we did on the other side, before it gets too cold, realistically, and before it gets too damp, more importantly, because the primers and the undercoats are porous. So give it enough time and you will start to get corrosion underneath them. So we are going to do these 2 panels, and then the door following, and that's where we're going to stop, and we're then going to focus on painting what we've done, so that obviously we don't have to come back and strip it, etc, etc, and then we'll be going on to the last panel and the door. So yeah, but no, a couple of intricacies. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of swearing in the next episode, as these doors, we've never done them before, but I have a feeling they could be a slight ball ache, but that's one of the fun challenges of doing this. Once we get good at it, yet again, I mean, we've got like 60 of them across the unit, so it is about time that we start getting a bit more competent with them. So yeah, this is our kind of dry run at it, and to make the mistakes, and hopefully they're not too consequential. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next very exciting episode.